Manchester City just agreed to sign a new winger from Brazil for €40 million, and a lot of questions are already being asked. Who is this guy? Why did Man City go for him? Is he up to the Premier League standard? Can he survive in England? Well, in this video today, we will be answering all those questions and more. This is why Manchester City signed Allan Elias. First of all, the Man City squad has gotten so thin with the many exits in this window, so new signings became very necessary. This summer alone, Man City have lost Rodri, Savinho, Omar Marmoush, Bernardo Silva, John Stones, Nico Gonzalez, Nathan Ake, James Trafford, Tijani Reinders, and Manuel Akanji permanently. That's a good number of players who were involved in the first team dynamics to a reasonable extent, so for once, their spending spree is definitely justified. They have already spent big on guys like Elliot Anderson and Ayoub Boadi, but Allan is special and we'll tell you why. First of all, he is a right winger, and that is one thing that City need right now. Having now lost Savinho to Spurs, it became important that they signed a direct replacement for him, and that was what led them to this point. Yes, they have Phil Foden and Ryan Cherki who can cover up in that position, but they are both attacking midfielders, not natural wingers, so the club still needed to find someone to cover that position. Also, like we said in a previous video, the way Maresca wants to set up his team with the right back, staying on the same level with the CBs and sort of forming a back three, Semenyo might not be the best person to play on the right wing because he always needs an overlapping fullback, but Allan can very easily solve that problem because this is a guy who can hug the line. And if Maresca wants to actually go full-on three at the back with wingbacks, Allan is better suited for that than any other attacker at Man City right now. You know why? Because he played as a fullback a good number of times for Palmeiras. For those who watched the Club World Cup last year, you would have taken notice of him. He was particularly sensational against Lionel Messi's Inter Miami. He came off the bench and was able to help Palmeiras mount a comeback from 2 goals down. He had a 100% dribble completion rate, recorded a 90% pass accuracy, and assisted a goal. He really caught the eye during that tournament and was able to help the club reach the quarter-finals, where they eventually fell to Chelsea. He did, however, give a good account of himself in that game, so despite the fact that he has been in Brazil all his life, he is no stranger to the big stage and going up against English opponents. But there are a lot more reasons why we believe Man City went for him this summer, and we'll talk about them in a moment. But if you aren't yet subscribed to the channel, go do that right away so you never miss out on our amazing content. Football fans, this is the deal you don't want to miss. Whether you're hunting for an iconic World Cup jersey or the colours of your favourite club, Goal90 Shop has the perfect pick for you. And right now, everything is a flat 15% off, with free shipping anywhere in the world. So don't wait. Hit the link in the description, head over to Goal90 Shop and grab your favourite jersey today. Done? Okay, back to the video. You see, Allan is a very skillful player with that original Brazilian flair. He knows how to beat his man and he is a very good carrier of the ball. When you have Semenyo, who is a really direct attacker and more of an inside forward, it is good that you balance things out by having a different variant of attacker on the right. He is really strong too, and when you pair that up with his elite dribbling, it becomes very difficult to get the ball off him. From our observation of him, we would say that he is primarily a creator and an entertainer. He loves to get the crowd going and also loves to set his teammates up. That is very important considering he'll be playing alongside Erling Haaland. You already have a goal machine in front of you. You just need to make sure that you're feeding him constantly and you'll be just fine. We're pretty sure that Allan will be able to do that at a high rate. But despite being a creator first, this guy can also strike the hell out of a football. He has a wicked left foot on him and he knows how to hit a ball in many different ways. He can curl, can whip, can volley, and can surely smash a football. And one thing we've noticed about him is that he loves to make attempts from outside the box, and this is something we believe Man City lacks right now. With Marmoush and Rodri gone, Foden is pretty much the only guy who can consistently try shots from outside the box. Semenyo is a good ball striker, no doubt, but he hardly gets into those positions, while guys like Doku and Cherki would rather dribble and enter the box before passing or attempting a shot. Like we said, Allan can surely dribble and he can pass, but he is not shy to hit the ball from distance, and sometimes you simply need that in your team. He also knows how to dig in and help the team defensively. Having played a good number of games as a wingback at Palmeiras, he's used to being defensively switched on, which will surely be very good for Enzo Maresca. These days, the best teams are the ones who have their attackers involved in the defending and pressing, from PSG to Barcelona to Arsenal. When you have Haaland as your 9, you would surely be better off having wingers who aren't shy to get down and dirty defensive-wise, and you know what's more? He is versatile. At Palmeiras, we have seen him play as a right wing-back, left wing-back, right winger, attacking midfielder and even central midfielder. A guy like this will always be a delight for top coaches, whether for tactical flexibility or to cover up for injured players. It's still very early days, but we have already seen that Maresca really fancies versatile players. In just 2 games, he has used guys like Antoine Semenyo, Nico O'Reilly, Mark Guehi and Rico Lewis in different positions, so you can already tell that he is going to be happy with a Swiss Army knife like Allan. But one thing we'll say though is that his numbers definitely need to improve now that he has moved to the Premier League. Allan is a well-rounded player for sure. He is also very entertaining to watch, but we don't think that his numbers are quite where they should be just yet. Of course, being just 22 years old, he is young, and there is still a lot of room to grow. Also, now surrounded by much better players, he will now get more chances to score, and we also expect that more of the chances he creates will be finished. But what we know is that the Premier League is very productivity oriented, and if he wants to get the fans behind him and make a name for himself at Man City, he would have to work on his final ball. Anyway though, one reason we just cannot ignore why City went for him is that Allan was a much less expensive alternative compared to all the other options. Pedro Neto, for example, would cost Man City about twice what they paid for Allan, and the wages would be significantly higher too. When you look at it that way, Allan starts to look like an even wiser choice. Finally, Palmeiras have really produced some stars in recent years, so you can understand why Man City love going back there to shop. Endrick, Estevão and Gabriel Jesus all came up from the Palmeiras Academy, and if you throw it further back, legends like Cafu, Roberto Carlos and Rivaldo all played for Palmeiras before moving to Europe. This is a club with a very good pedigree when it comes to churning out world beaters, so a top European club buying a young player from there is never a bad idea. All in all, you can see exactly why Man City went for this guy. They have a hole that needs to be plugged, and this is a guy who has the skill set to do exactly that for them. And don't worry about adaptation. Brazilian players always adapt so well to Europe, regardless of the league, so we're pretty sure Allan will be fine in that regard. And on top of that, he had Ruben Dias, Mateus Nunes and Vitor Reis, who all speak Portuguese, so they'll be helping him bridge the language barrier and get acclimatized to his new environment very quickly. But we now want to hear from you guys. What do you think about this signing? Have Man City just got the right man here? How well do you think Allan will perform in his first season at City? Tell us what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notification so you never miss out on new content. Catch you in the next one. Bye. Football fans, this is the deal you don't want to miss. Whether you're hunting for an iconic World Cup jersey or the colors of your favorite club, Goal90 Shop has the perfect pick for you. And right now, everything is a flat 15% off with free shipping anywhere in the world. So don't wait. Hit the link in the description, head over to Goal90 Shop and grab your favorite jersey today.